Lie, 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 lie. Do you ever feel like you might be going out of your mind and wonder, what can I do when I feel like I'm going out of my mind? This is a song I've been singing for years. It's a nigun. It's a song without words. And shortly before my dear husband passed away a few years ago, we had what we called our best Shabbat, Saturday afternoon. He woke up. He started to recite a sermon. I knew it was coming. At the end of the sermon, he said, "Gather the children around. We're going to sing and dance." Understand, we were in our room, and the nurse was next to me, and the children were in Aaron's imagination. And so we played the game, and we took hands, and we sang these songs. And at the end of singing, my husband said, "This is my best Shabbat. Let's have cake." There are times in our lives when we're absolutely sure we're going to lose our minds. There are times in our lives when it seems like our worst nightmare is happening because someone we know and love has lost their mind. And this is what happened in my life with my husband. My husband's worst nightmare was that he would lose his mind with a dementia similar to what he saw with his dear grandmother. And when it began to happen, he looked at me and he said, "When I get to the point where I don't know you, shoot me. Because if I don't have my mind, I might as well be dead." So that was the mindset that we were both coming from. If we don't have our minds, we might as well be dead. And yet, when he had come out of a coma, and I asked him, "So, are you ready to go now? Do you want me to help you die?" He said, No, I'm afraid." It took 5 years from the time the doctor said that he was bound to pass any time until the time he chose to do so. And in that process, there were times I really thought I was going out of my mind. That was a time in my life when I felt that I was alone. I didn't believe that I was being supported by God or the universe. I didn't believe that life was happening for me. And when I looked at my husband, how could I look at him and say, "You are me and I am you"? That sense of oneness was not computing. I wanted to believe that it would. At a particular point in time, I felt myself running away as fast as I could, making a point to be away from my husband's side as much as I could. Oh, I provided the nurses and the food, but I was off busy, staying away, avoiding, pretending, and then I collapsed. The universe was saying, "Would you pay attention to what is right in front of your face? Be willing to face the fact that your husband is out of his mind. But it doesn't mean what you think it means." Okay, I surrender. What in the world can this be about? And so, one by one, teachers and mentors and messengers came to me with messages about giving my husband unconditional love, with teachings about quantum physics and oneness, with a spiritual training in which I learned a technique called tithing. Really a technique that's been around for centuries, but someone gave it a name a few years ago, and tithing is something that is now used widely with a process for spirit-to-spirit communion. To be able to connect to another human being by getting very quiet, tuning in, and connecting heart to heart, spirit to spirit, soul to soul. And so, in that learning of that technique, it's a technology, I decided, maybe I can connect with my husband. What do I have to lose? So one day, after coming back from one of my trainings where I was learning how to engage with this kithing process, I decided to go to my husband's room and be there, to not run away. And I sat down on the sofa and I tuned in. I got quiet. It wasn't easy to get quiet. And I tuned in to that part of me deep inside. And I recited a kithing intention. I love you. I miss you. I want to hear your voice. And as I sat there, just staying quiet, I was just connecting to my husband. The whole intention for me was just to connect heart to heart. I didn't really expect to hear his voice. I wanted to. And about 10 minutes into my being quiet, I heard, "What took you so long? I've been waiting for you to find a way to hear my voice." I looked over at Aaron and he was asleep in his bed. I kind of checked myself out, wondering what's going on here. And I thought, well, let's see what else he has to say. So I went back in, tuned in again, got quiet, and asked, "So I'm here, I'm listening. Do you have any messages for me?" And he said, "Yes, I do. I am not my mind. I am not my brain. I am not my body. What you see when you look at me is not me. What you hear right now as you hear my voice is me. Keep listening." I felt my heart was pounding. I felt the blood rushing to my face. I felt excited. I felt silly. I felt skeptical. I felt afraid. I felt completely blown away. I felt that my mind had been blown away. And guess what? That's exactly what was happening. I was experiencing, truly, being out of my mind so that I could experience another part of what it means to be alive. And connecting with my husband, who was in the bed right next to me, breathing, who didn't seem to be there. But just because he didn't seem to be there, just because of what I was looking at didn't seem to be what I thought it was, what his message to me was, what you see is not me. What you're hearing through your heart, what you're hearing through your spirit and our soul-to-soul connection, that's me. That began a journey for both of us, in which I began to understand on a whole different level that who you are, who I am as a human being, has very little to do with this or this. Yeah, I've been around a few decades, so this part of my body's getting a little crinkly, even wrinkly here and there. But that's not me. I gotta tell you, when I forget to look in the mirror and I remind myself how many years I've been around, I feel maybe 25, 30, maybe. Because who I am, it's not this. It's a tool. My brain is a tool. My mind is a tool. And actually, the bigger part of my mind and your mind is way beyond anything here. So I began to engage in this form of communion and this experience of being alive. I gotta tell you, the connection was not only mind-blowing, It was ecstatic. I began to have a sense of freedom. My fear of what happens after the body goes disappeared. About 2 months after we began this kithing, something else strange happened. It's really to the point of the value of spirit-to-spirit communication and real connection on an unconditional loving basis with another human being. Something was happening in terms of our vitality, both of us. And my husband started to awaken more often and be with us, having conversations when he was awake. He started to ask for more food. He became a real nudnik, actually, telling the nurses that he wanted something really specific. He wanted more spices. And then one Saturday morning, he woke up giving one of his 7-minute sermons. This rabbi, this brilliant man, had not completely lost it. And here he was, thinking it was in the synagogue. In his imagination, in his world, he was in the synagogue. For him, that was real. And at the end of his sermon, he asked that the children come to him and for us to take hands and to sing songs. So that's when he looked at me, the cantor, to say, we're going to sing songs now. Hinei ma tovu ma naim, shevet achim gam yachad. And we sang, and we moved our arms back and forth as if we were dancing. And then at the end of our Shabbat celebration, he said, this is my most wonderful Shabbat. Let's eat cake. That's magic. That's a moment of magic. And from that experience, all the work that I had been doing before as coach now began to expand. Because now I could offer others the benefit of what I was learning. And I've created coaching programs and workshops so that people can experience magic in their own lives. To be liberated from the fear of what happens around the corner, to somehow bless everything that comes to us, to see everything as a gift, to understand that the tough stuff in life, whatever it is, whether it's your worst nightmare, your greatest challenge, has within it gifts beyond our imagination. And so the programs that I offer, I call magic. The M is for the muse in all of us. That creative part that we all are, that part of us that creates music, amusement, laughter, art, our imagination. The A is for avatar, that part of us that is God here in body on earth, and that is everyone. The G is for grace, for the gratitude for everything that is, to find a blessing in everything that there is. The I for intuition that leads us to opening our imagination to all possibilities. And the K for kismet. You never know, but if we somehow trust that all of life is happening for us, we experience kismet. Life is magic. Be willing to go out of your mind and experience the mind-blowing experiences of being you. Thank you.